Throw the judge in jail. Make Young Thug the new judge. There you go. Here, let's talk about what the fuck's going on with the Young Thug trial, because there's some crazy updates here. Shouts out to Thugger Daily for keeping us up to date on the latest of the Young Thug trial.
Judge, I'm not the only one here. There's quite a few other lawyers that want to be present in the court. There's about 20, 25.
The challenge is I have space allocations, as I told you. So,
Dog and pony show up in this bitch.
take Mr. Steele into custody, please.
Every attorney with a pulse and access to Twitter, including me, has been losing their damn minds over what happened yesterday at Young Thug's trial. The fact that he threw him in contempt is the least of this judge's problems, which is kind of crazy because that was also insane. There have been no clear explanations for people who aren't attorneys online for why exactly what happened yesterday is grounds alone for this entire thing to be a mistrial. Why the judge is corrupt as hell, the prosecution's colluding, everyone is up in arms, but I'm gonna explain it to you now, okay? Amazing. This is Young Thug. His real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams. He was arrested in November 2022, along with a bunch of other people on a slew of RICO charges, drug, gun, and gang-related charges. The prosecution's case is based on this theme. They're claiming that Young Thug and two other people
So make sure to be careful on your sources for this trial. I recommend the Thuggington Post. You're right. There's a lot of Young Thug related fan accounts out there, and some of them are committing journalistic malpractice. Some of them are very reliable sources in media. Thank you so much for making sure that we're only covering the non-biased, objective Young Thug fan accounts that have been dialed in on the Thugger trial.
co-founded a violent criminal street gang called Young Slime Life, YSL, and that it's associated with the National Bloods gang. They're claiming that he made the YSL name popular through his songs, etc., etc. No one cares. In one of the indictments against him, they're alleging that he committed 191 acts that essentially furthered this conspiracy to RICO the house and do all this gang activity, okay? One of those acts includes, which is important, includes the allegation that Young Thug rented a silver Infiniti sedan that was used in the killing of a rival gang member named Donovan "NOT" Thomas. This is Kenneth Copeland, one of the star witnesses for the prosecution. He was sworn in on Friday and was supposed to, because he has to deal with the prosecution, testify in exchange for complete immunity. Okay, when that happens, you can't just plead the fifth and have your cake and eat it too. Okay, you do need to testify. And on Friday, he was pleading the fifth, okay, the whole time. So he was held in contempt over the weekend, but by Monday, he appeared to have a change of heart. During his testimony, take a short lunch break at court. After the lunch break, Brian Steele, Young Thug's attorney, stands up and is like, "We just learned something over lunch. What in the hell?" As this tweet summarizes,
Thugger Daily. Okay, this is a reliable source. I know that she's getting it from an unbiased source. Thugger Daily has been covering this trial endlessly, okay? And honestly, it's great. It's basically like the Law and Order channel, but for Young Thug only. This is the Megan Cuniff of the Young Thug trial, okay? Young Thug's lawyer has evidence of coercion and witness intimidation by judge and the state. The judge wants to know how he found out, but Steele isn't ratting. The judge threatened Steele with jail. Woody also apparently admitted he's the one who killed Nut. Corruption.
Brian Steele stands up and says, "Hi, Judge Glanville. I learned over the lunch break from someone that there was an ex parte meeting," and I'll teach you what that means, okay, "between you, the judge, the prosecutor, the sworn witness, and the witness's attorney, without any of the defense attorneys present or notified about it. That is not allowed. Ex parte communications are communications that a judge has with one party's attorney or party and not the other one, okay? They're seen as the biggest no-no. That's why we have it in writing. This is Georgia's Judicial Code of Conduct, okay? Ex parte communications, right? You say here, judges shall not No chance, initiate, permit, or consider ex parte communications or consider other communications made to them outside the presence of the parties or their lawyers concerning a pending proceeding or impending matter. Doesn't that sound like this? Yes, it does. Okay. Even no matter what was said in the chambers, which I'll get to, which is crazy, even if they just talked about their Jimmy John's order, all right, in chambers, still beyond not okay and grounds for a mistrial, arguably, all right? Judge Glanville.
That's right. Free my man's mistrial now.
Bill did not notify any of the defense attorneys. He didn't do any of this, and he didn't invite them to the conversation.
And if you want to see the OG clip here, let's watch this real quick so you can see the crime. The real crime is not one that they're accusing Young Thug of, which he definitely didn't do, but instead the collusion between the judge and the prosecutor.
It's the record. Well, I'm going forward. What I was told was that Mr. Copeland said,
and you haven't answered my question yet.
I'm not
How
going
did
to
you
answer that question.
You're not?
No, I will not answer that question.
Why will you not answer that question?
Because I want to make sure that what I say is accurate, and I'm not trying to get anybody else.
I'm asking you, how did you get this information?
I'm not telling the court. What I'm saying is based upon information.
Okay, well, listen, if you don't tell me how you got this information, then you and I are going to have some problems.
We can have this. I have problems right now.
Okay, I know. Look, I don't want to know about your problems. Okay, at this point in time, all I'm asking you at this point in time is, how did you come upon this information? Look, if the case gets reviewed, the record's going to be available for.
This is pretty crazy. I've been following Thugger Daily for a minute. The DA's evidence has just been Instagram pictures and gang experts with shitty slideshows. They have nothing on them. I thought this was kind of... Bro, okay, I don't mean to be that guy, but didn't Young Thug literally rent a car that was used in the drive-by shooting of Nut, and that the car was rented with his name? The problem is that RICO charges paired up with using rap lyrics. I think a lot of people have made jokes about it and been like, lol, rap snitches, lol, basically revealing their crimes and yada yada. I think overall, and I've said this from the jump, that's ridiculous. RICO already is ridiculous to apply in a fucking record label situation. And I know everybody uses the MF Doom lyrics, like I said, but ultimately, I think it's fucking insane to use free speech, rap lyrics, artistic expression, specifically in this situation. I don't understand why that is even remotely allowed. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. If their entire cases specifically designed around RICO, which is already a fairly loose connection, and the consideration that his record label is a gang, which is also ridiculous. And then beyond that, the only evidence they have is rap lyrics, then that's ridiculous. It's bullshit. But I thought that they had some pretty solid evidence as far as tying Young Thug to a certain degree to a crime
For our appellate court and for whatever reason. But it's disturbing that how somehow you have surreptitiously gotten information in regards to the court's private ex parte conversations with a party. I mean,
a witness who was sworn in Friday. The court's telling, this is what I was told. If this is not true, not true. This court handed Mr. Copeland.
Tell me how you got the information.
Listen, whatever you want to do.
Tell me how you got the information, then we can go ahead and go forward.
I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is this. I was told, and I hope this concerns the court.
It concerns me that you have proprietary information.
Why is it
or
proprietary?
Information that you should not be having that was ex parte.
Why?
With a party.
Why?
State of Georgia.
How about the witness? How about Mr. Copeland, who supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said, actually, all of the defendants and then all 26 people are disposed of. If that's true, what this is is coercion, witness intimidation, ex parte communications that we have a
Bro, what the fuck are they doing in Georgia? Like, what are they doing down there? By the way, this is also Fonnie Willis. It's like what the fuck are they doing down there? What is happening? And she fucked up the bag for the Trump trial. Like, I'm so mad. I'm actually so mad about Fonnie. Like, you couldn't just like keep it in your pants. You couldn't. You had to give him, like, the thing is, the Trump camp was going to look for anything that they could fucking tangibly get their hands on. They were going to use that to push this goddamn case beyond the election date. Okay? And then you turned around and you gave him something. Like, I will never forgive. And it's not even because, like, I think this trial would have brought down Donald Trump or anything. Like, you fucked my content, Fonnie. You fucked my content. You had the RICO for Trump, dead to rights, and you had to go and throw it around. You had to fucking fumble the bag in the process and deny us a televised court proceeding in a state court for a former president. A state court, which means that he couldn't even get pardoned unless he went to Brian Kemp, the governor, who he fucking hates. Like, it was so perfectly poetic. And it fucked everything up, dude. There is no dick that is that good, okay? No dick that is good enough to fuck up the bag this way. Oh.
Constitutional right to be present for. So I understand that you're upset towards me, but I don't know what I did.
Mr. Steele, I still want to know, how did you come upon this information? Who told you?
What I want to know is, why wasn't I there? Why,
sir? I'm going to hold you in contempt if you don't tell me who this. Tell me who this information was.
I don't want to be held in contempt. Well, then, I'm not answering that question. That's attorney-client privilege information. I am not
attorney-client privilege. Unless you were in my chambers, that's the only way you can figure out.
I tell you what.
I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me, if you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you in.
There you go, dude. Young Thug's attorney, Brian Steele, has been sentenced to 10 weekends, 20 days in jail. He asked if he could serve his time with the Young Thug if his appeal fails. The judge agreed. Look at my lawyer dog for to have a long-lasting friendship based on trust and mutual respect. Dude, this man is a real one, okay? Also, see, Kirko giving the nod to Thugger Daily, which is the most reliable Young Thug and YSL RICO court case updates page, okay? ThuggerDaily@gmail.com. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny because they literally, like, he's not even denying. He's just like, how did you find out that I did this? He's basically admitting to it, which is pretty funny. Anyway, let's get back to it now that you know.
Because if they would have been invited, they would have objected to it. They apparently had a conversation in his chambers that morning that somehow led to the witness now testifying. And Brian Steele says, and confronts the judge with, he learned that during that meeting that they weren't invited to, which is not allowed, the judge, after the witness basically says, yeah, I'm not testifying, hold me for 2 years, whatever, the judge tells him, well, I can hold you, if you don't testify, in jail for as long as I want until these other 26 defendants already have their cases tried. Basically coercing, intimidating the witness to testify. The judge. And it gets worse. Apparently during that meeting, the witness confessed to being the one to murder Nut, a rival gang member who Young Thug is accused of renting a car in order to help in his murder, whatever. That is exculpatory Brady evidence, what we call it, okay? That confession is evidence that tends to prove the innocence of Young Thug in that scenario. And again, it has to be disclosed under the law. To the defense attorneys, it was not disclosed. There are layers to the corruption and tomfoolery going on here. In response, as any clearly innocent person does, Judge doesn't deny that that happened. He just yells at him and says, how did you get your information? Who's your source? I'm very concerned.
Throw the judge in jail. That's right. Throw him in jail and free Thug.
And you haven't answered my question yet. I'm not going to answer that question. You're not? No, I will not answer that question. Why will you not answer that question? Because I want to make sure that what I say is accurate. I'm not trying to get anybody else. I'm asking you, how did you get this information?
Throw the judge in jail. Make Young Thug the new judge. There you go. Justice served.
I'm not telling the court. What I'm saying is based upon information. Okay, well, listen, if you don't tell me how you got this information, then
something as
is how did you come upon this information? Look.
Imagine you're accused of something as serious as witness tampering in an active pending trial. And your response isn't to deny the allegations, it is to badger the attorney about who his source is. And in doing so, throughout, you can watch the video, it's very clear that he's hinting at the fact that, yeah, all that did for sure happen. What? Brian Steele refuses to tell him. Of course he does. Brian Steele says, this is a violation of my client's constitutional rights because he has a constitutional right to be there for every phase of the trial and he wasn't there in that back room. So that's a violation. So many rules being broken here, it's not even funny. So Judge Glanville has no grounds to force Brian Steele to tell him who the source is, but that's what he's sticking on. Pursuant to Rule 1.6 of the Rules of Professional Conduct, which is what all of us attorneys are bound to follow, okay, we have to. Everything you learn through the course of your representation of a client is confidential, meaning you cannot disclose it without a court order subpoena. It's not a thing, okay? It's not a thing. The court cannot just say, the judge cannot just say, you tell me who your source is, and I have to tell you who the source is, pursuant to, basic ethics, but also, let's get to the root of the problem here. The source doesn't fucking matter when the information is correct. You can find all of the crazy quotes by this man, okay, during this exchange. He just keeps saying, you need to tell me, or I'm going to put you in contempt, and he's like, no, I'll let you have 5 minutes to think about it before I hold you in contempt. And he's like, I don't need 5 minutes, actually. I'm not telling you. There are two different types of contempt, civil contempt and criminal contempt. They're different, not based on, it's a criminal trial, so it must be criminal. No, it's based on the purpose of the contempt order. Civil contempt is where you are trying to coerce compliance with a court order. Criminal contempt is to punish conduct, okay, like something that happened in the courtroom. Summary, criminal contempt in that sense, but it's a crime, okay? So you are afforded all of the due process rights that anyone accused of a crime are afforded, and it has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. This buffoon of a judge, pardon my French, doesn't know the difference between any of the contempts, and no one apparently told him on Google when he clearly Googled it during his 5-minute break. That was 2 hours, okay? He just keeps repeating, this is criminal contempt, this is summary criminal contempt, and everyone's like, no, it is not. It's literally not, because you're saying that he can get out of jail if he tells you what the name of his source is. So that would be civil contempt because you're trying to coerce compliance with a court order, which has to be lawful in the first place. And this isn't really a court order, it's just him yelling at him about something. You get it. Criminal contempt is where you are punishing behavior, okay? So he has to be disrupting or preventing justice from happening in the courtroom. If anything, he's the only one trying to have it happen. Fuck. So he is arrested, okay? Put into jail. Immediately, 25 defense attorneys, okay? And the president of the Georgia bar, defense attorney bar, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, comes in, okay? Her name is Ashley Merchant, and she comes in his defense, like to represent him. And she hands the judge's ass to him in a very professional, correct way, and basically explains the difference between civil contempt and criminal contempt to him, the importance between the two, and says he's entitled to a hearing, okay? Notice, opportunity to be heard, counsel, all of that. And he says, no, he's not. No, this is sua sponte criminal contempt. He doesn't have a right to appeal this. He won't get a written order. Buzzer. Wrong. He is entitled to appeal it. He is entitled to a written order, a very specific written order. There's so many things. Essentially, the summary of it is he's sentenced to 20 days on the weekends to serve in jail, okay, for criminal contempt. And he asked, can I serve it with my client?
Isn't this literally Trump's team, by the way? Like in Georgia? Let's see. He's hiring Steven Sado. Never mind. Trump brought attorney Steven Sado to helm his defense against racketeering charges of Fulton County.
Who told him this? That's all.
Yo, watch this shit. The way this lawyer is getting his ass. Judge Glanville is scrambling. The woman is the president of the Georgia Criminal Defense Attorneys Association. She brought 20, count them, 20 lawyers to back her up.
I'm asking him to release or otherwise tell any conversations, but I just want him to tell me that.
And Judge, so that's what you want, but that does not conflate to a contempt. Your desire for him to answer your question does not mean that you have the power to hold him in contempt.
So you can come into court, Mr. Merchant, and not answer a question
he
in the court and not be held.
He replaced Drew Findling with Steven Sado. Drew Findling was, I think he was he Gucci Mane's lawyer? Trump fires Atlanta lawyer swapping with lawyer who rep Gucci Mane. Oh, Trump fires Atlanta attorney swapping lawyer who rep Gucci Mane for Gunnas. So he had Gucci Mane's lawyer, Findling, and then he swapped him for Gunna's lawyer, who is Drew Findling, who was representing Gucci Mane, Offset, and others, and is often called a $1 billion lawyer for Steve Sado, who was worked with Rick Ross and recently got Gunna out of prison. So he went with Gunna's lawyer instead. And I think, hold on. Yeah, Ashley Merchant is the head of the Defense Attorneys Guild or whatever, is the leader. The woman who's speaking on stage is the lawyer who led the effort to oust Fani Willis. She's the one who cooked Fani Willis. An Atlanta lawyer representing one of Donald J. Trump's co-defendants claimed vindication on Friday for her efforts to have Fani T. Willis, the Fulton County District Attorney, tossed off the Georgia election interference case. So, just something to consider. Cooking this judge right now.
If it's a question that the court is not permitted to ask, yes.
Okay, well, this is a question the court's permitted to ask.
Bro, I knew as soon as DJ Academics was like, I love Fani Willis, that's my girl, I was like, oh shit, we're so fucking cooked. Remember when we were having a conversation, me and DJ Academics? And he was like excited that Fani Willis was, tossing out these Ricos like it was candy.
And it's our position, if we had a hearing, we could explain to the court why he is not required. First of all, the court
he called her the queen. He's a Queen Fani Willis.
accused him of eavesdropping. That is a crime. He has a Fifth Amendment privilege against answering those questions. Rule 1.6 protects all confidential information that is gained not from your client, but in representation of your client. He has the ability to protect that information. But we don't even need to get there because he can't be held in contempt, and you can't threaten him with contempt for presenting a motion in good faith. He presented a motion in good faith that he believed there were ex parte communications. You are a witness to that because it's my understanding that you were part of those ex parte communications. They can't be ex parte if you weren't part of them, by nature.
Okay. Well,
you have to be involved. Therefore, you have to be a witness. So you are a witness. You cannot also.
But you got the information. But here's the thing: you got the information allegedly from an improper methodology. I'm not saying that he eavesdropped. Okay, I said that one of the things is it's either one of two ways. He either eavesdropped, which I don't believe he did at all. I don't believe that for a minute. But I do believe that somebody did tell him what was the sum and substance of the court's conversations, and that would not be permissible.
Judge, let's just back up for a second. He makes a motion because he has reason to believe that there were ex parte communications made. The court has a duty, if there are ex parte communications made, to alert counsel. He shouldn't have had to learn it from wherever he learned it.
I think that he caused that particular circumstance. I think that he had a conversation.
not gonna lie, I fucking love lawyers when they do shit like this. It's just, you really need one on your fucking corner. You really need one like this on your corner. I love this shit.
In the same cell as him as Young Thug so that we can prepare our case. And the judge said, sure. And as he's being led in cuffs out of the courtroom, he's making all these motions. He did everything he possibly could and was such a G about it. And the moment, like the millisecond that the judge, issued his shitty, horribly written bullshit order of contempt that has no foundation in law or logic, his wife, Colette Steele, is representing him because they're both attorneys on his appeal, immediately files the notice of appeal. It's not appealable. We just did. And today they have just continued the witness's testimony and continued trial as if nothing has happened. So appeal's going to go through hopefully quickly. I want to fly to Georgia and shake Brian Steele's hand and all of those attorneys who pulled up to the courthouse in support of Brian Steele. They are a crew and they protect their own, and they're not going to let this shit happen to Brian Steele without a fight. I'm proud to be an attorney on this side, and I hope that Judge Glanville gets what he deserves.
Defense attorneys are fucking... They're awesome. But, I mean, they're also monsters in the way that, like Jayoma or whatever... That fucking guy who's like constantly being like, oh, here's my client. What did you do? And then the client's like, I raped 11 babies. And he's like, and what did you get? He's like, I'm walking home a free man. And I'm like, bro, you should not admit that. You know what I mean? It's like, what? That guy should not be roaming the streets, dude.